Hey everybody, Snowflurky Zemos here today with another Master Duel deck profile. This is a deck I've made that I call the Mass Beast Trap Control. This is a just for fun deck that I've made. I'm playing on the casual ladder that allows me to show off one of my favorite old school Yu-Gi-Oh monsters, the Mass Beast, in a type of deck that actually can get some wins. Because of the way it plays, mostly just relying on powerful trap cards to win the game, and then using your big recurring Mass Beast to beat down an opponent. So with that, let's start looking at the cards. Starting with our monsters, I am playing two copies of the Mass Beast, the namesake of the deck. This is simply a 3,200 attack 8-star monster that is a ritual monster that has no effect. It is a non-effect monster, which is very important. We're going to make use of that synergy with this deck. The other thing that we are able to utilize is the fact that it is a fiend, which makes it work with the Dark Spirit cards, which are good additions to the deck. Next up, we're playing three copies of Beast King Barbaros. This is a 3,000 attack monsters with 8 stars, 8 stars being the amount of stars needed to make a tribute, and has a secondary function of just being a good beat stick when Skill Drain is active on the field, one of our main win cons and a key to this deck. It also has a very low defense, which makes it searchable by our next card, two copies of Witch of the Black Forest. Witch of the Black Forest is just a monster that if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a monster with 1,500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. That includes Barbaros if we need a tribute, or it can search any of our Dark Spirits. Now, of course, we're not able to activate cards or the effects of that cards with that name for the rest of the turn, but not a big deal. Usually we're using it to set up for another turn. Good thing about Witch of the Black Forest, too, is when we play it, we can set it face down, which gives us our Flawless Perfection online, because it lets us draw cards when we have a face down monster, but more about that in a second. Next, we're playing two copies of Dark Spirit of Malice. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard to target a level 8 fiend monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but its effects are negated. So we can use this to pull the Mass Beast out of our graveyard after we properly ritual summon it. And then, of course, if this card is in the graveyard and a level 8 fiend is sent to the graveyard, we can add this card to our hand. So this sets up our loop that once we successfully summon out the Mass Beast once, if it gets removed, well, we can summon it back with Dark Spirit of Malice. We can also do the same with Dark Spirit of Banishment, which is the same card, but it activates when an opponent's monster attacks at the start of the damage step, instead of Dark Spirit of Malice, which activates when our opponent activates a card or effect. It makes Malice a little better, but Banishment still worth running one of in this deck. And that is it for our monster count. Very low monster count. This is a trap-oriented deck where the trap cards win the game. The Mass Beast is just for fun. Next, we're going to go into our spell cards. I am playing two copies of Flawless Perfection of the Tenny. This is a field spell that makes all non-effect monsters on the field unaffected by monster effects. That is just our Mass Beast, which is pretty cool. But what we're mostly using it for is that if our opponent special summons an effect monster while you control a face-down monster or non-effect monster, we draw 2 cards. So while Mass Beast's on the field, they special summon an effect, we draw 2. That's awesome. That generates us lots of card advantage and refills our trap cards as we use them to beat down our opponent. Very cool. Also works if we have a set Witch of the Black Forest, or of course we could be setting any of these other cards if we just want to keep Flawless Perfection of the Tenny online. Next, I'm playing a copy of Fury of Karyushin. This card adds Torrential Tribute from the deck to our hand. We're going to use Torrential Tribute quite a lot to wipe our board, and also not care too much on our end, because we're either going to trigger our Witch, or we're going to send Mass Beast to the grave, which we can easily just bring right back with the Dark Spirit cards. So, a card that searches it, definitely worth playing. Next, 3 Pot of Extravagance. Extra Deck is completely useless, as you can tell by my meme Extra Deck. We are just, shutting down our opponent with trap cards and sitting on this really big bungus. And so we're going to banish 6 of those Extra Deck cards and draw 2 cards. Now we can't use any other drawing effects, but not a big deal. Next is Pot of Duality. Once we have our setup, we're not special summoning every turn, so it's good to excavate the top 3 cards of our deck, add one to the hand in exchange for our special summon. This allows us to search out our really powerful floodgates like Skill Drain or Summon Limit that are the real winners of the deck. And, we need those so that a deck that is this clowny can win, and so we're going to play them. And next, I'm playing a copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is just in here to search Flawless Perfection of the Tenny. 1 for the 2 field spells. Pretty solid ratio. Thins the deck. We like that. That's it for the spell cards. Alright, taking a look at our trap cards, I am playing 3 copies of Renewal of the World. This is our trap card that we're going to use to summon Mass Beast. When it's activated, we can banish a ritual monster from the deck, so that's nice. This allows us to kind of access and ritual summon this monster without having to play a lot of incantations or other stuff that clogs the deck, and allows us to shove in more trap cards to stop our opponent's plays. So we banish our ritual monster from the deck, then we can activate one of you can send this card to the graveyard to activate one of the effects. We can either tribute a monster from the hand or field or shuffle a ritual monster from your graveyard into the deck whose level equals or exceeds the level of the monster banished by the card effect to ritual summon the monster. So basically we can ritual summon Mass Beast, or we can simply add it to our hand. We're mostly using it to tribute a monster, to shuffle to ritual summon our Mass Beast, that monster usually being Beast King Barbaros, unless we have Mass Beast in our hand and graveyard, then we contribute it, because we only really need one out on the field. But, you know, pretty good. Your ritual summons are Mass Beast. Next, we're playing a copy of There Can Be Only One. This is mostly just in here because skill drain is semi-limited. Otherwise, we'd be playing 3 skill drain. But we're mostly sitting on 1, maybe 2 monsters that are not necessarily the same type if we got Barbaros and Mass Beast on the field. So There Can Only Be One is just very powerful. It means each player can only control 1 monster of each type. This shuts down a lot of decks, and since it doesn't hinder us that much, well, we might as well need it because we need what we can to help win. Next, I'm playing 3 copies of Summon Limit. Summon Limit is nice because neither player can summon more than 2 times per turn. Summoning more than 2 times per turn is something very rare for this deck to do, so it doesn't hurt us at all, but it hurts a lot of other decks who want to summon a lot and combo a lot, and works really well with the Torrential Tributes and the Blind Obliterations that are in this deck, because once they summon 2 monsters, we can wipe their board and chain a Summon Limit to it. Now their board is wide open, and they can't summon any more monsters, which is pretty sick. Next, we're playing 2 copies of Skill Drain, 1,000 life points to negate the effects of monsters while they're up on the field. No big deal. You know, we want Beast King Barbaros' effect negated. The Dark Spirit still work, Witch still works, and Mass Beast doesn't have an effect. So, you know, we're going to take full advantage of this card that wins games because a lot of people need effect monsters and they're just not going off. Next, I'm playing 1 copy of Solemn Strike. It's just when a monster would be summoned or a monster effect is activated, pay 1,500 life points to negate the summoner activation. If you do, destroy that card. Pretty good card to have, especially if we don't have Skill Drain online yet. But of course, once Skill Drain is online, there's less effects that need to be negated. Still good to have as a 1 of, maybe 2 of if you don't like Blind Obliteration as much. Next, I'm playing 3 Solemn Judgment. Pay half our life points, negate a summon or a spell or trap card activation. This protects our very powerful floodgates or anything that could out our Mass Beast loop here. Once we have all that set up, we want to make sure that's protected, so having Solemn Judgment ready to go is very important. Makes a lot of these cards a lot more powerful. Next up, I'm playing 3 copies of Torrential Tribute. When a monster is summoned, destroy all monsters on the field. So pretty nice. So your opponent summons the monsters. They're trying to make a combo. You just blow up their board before they go into the extra deck. If they summon twice and you got Summon Limit up, you know, they're done summoning for the turn, and that is pretty nice. In addition, I'm also playing 3 copies of Blind Obliteration. This is just almost Torrential Tribute most of the time. We roll a 6-sided die twice and destroy all face-up monsters with level or ranks lower than the total roll. I mean, most monsters being summoned are level 4 or lower. And of course, Blind Obliteration, since you're rolling 2 dice on average, you roll like a 7, so it usually just wipes the entire board. Kind of like Snipe Hunter back in the day. It can flop on you sometimes, but usually not too much. Enough that I'm still very happy with it because of what it does. It wipes the board, especially with Summon Limit. That combo wins you the game. So that is what we're looking at. And next, I'm playing a copy of Fake Trap, just another emergency button if our opponent wants to play Harpy's Feather Duster or destroy a crucial trap or floodgate. Fake Trap is just a trap card that can destroy instead when your trap card or cards could be destroyed. So if you have Fake Trap down and 4 other traps and your opponent plays Harpy Feather Duster, well, you can just destroy Fake Trap and nothing else. Everything else lives. Now, they do get to see it, so they'll know what it is, but, I mean, it's not usually going to help them anyway. And that is it for the trap cards. Alright, so here's a little bit of the deck in action. We're up against an opponent who's playing like a Paleozoic trap monster kind of deck on the casual ladder. Now, like I said, this is definitely not a deck to rank up with, just a deck I made because I wanted to have some kind of deck that I found playable enough and uses one of my favorite cards. So we're going first, decent hand here, Extravagance to get more cards, Pot of Duality to look for a Crucial Floodgate, Torrential Tribute, so we really want to be looking for Summon Limit if we can find it, and of course, Fake Trap to protect our back row. So let's see where we go here. Alright, so we're going to play Pot of Extravagance. We're going to banish our 6 cards. We're going to draw 2, Duality and Dark Spirit. Not too great, but, you know, we're going to play Duality. There's Masterpiece, there's Skill Drain, there's Torrential. It's not Summon Limit, but Skill Drain is very powerful. We're going to set our 3 powerful back row and set our monster because, you know, we just want to block our life. Don't care if it goes to the grave. This is where I see they're playing something clowny because they got a little set 4. Makes me a little nervous. I'm going to play Pot of Duality. Pot of Duality searches me some targets. I will grab the Blind Obliteration. I'm just going to attack with Dark Spirit of Banishment, try to force out some removal. I'll let Dinomischus banish it. You know, nothing else to say about that. They're just going to set another card. A little bit of a grind here. Now, Renewal of the World is nice. This will get my Mass Beast online and will allow me to try to poke safely with Beast King Barbaros because I can always tag it out for the tribute. So we're going to banish that at the end of the turn so we don't top deck our Mass Beast. Now, of course, we are going to normal summon Beast King Barbaros. I'm going to attack. I don't flip Skill Drain at this point because I don't want to trigger Dinomischus. I want them to trigger Dinomischus. So, you know. Alright, they're just going to set another card. If they don't play anything, I'm just going to poke them down with Barbaros. So I'm going to put Ball in their cart. They're going to let me attack again. Perfectly fine. I'll whittle them down because once I get them to 32, I can really cheese them real quick, especially with Solemn Judgment. So they're going to play Forbidden Droplet here. It looks like just to clear some back row. Doesn't make too much, you know, doesn't do too much. They're going to get Paleozoic Dinomischus. I see they're going for an extra deck play here because they're trying to summon their guy. I'm going to play Skill Drain just before they can summon anything that can negate it. Now that they got 3 monsters on the field, I am going to tag this out just to get Mass Beast in rotation. And of course, I'm going to flip Torrential Tribute. It does wipe my Mass Beast, of course, but I will get it back fairly soon enough. I'm going to play Pot of Duality. We're going to grab another Blind Obliteration, because especially since all the monsters are low level, Blind Obliteration is usually guaranteed to destroy them. So they're going to play Trap Trick again. Get another Dinomischus out. I assume they want to get rid of Skill Drain. I am going to Solemn Judgment this, because if they don't want Skill Drain, it's clearly going to win me the game. And I'm going to use another Renewal of the World, get Mass Beast. Now the cool thing about this is I can use Renewal of the World to summon Mass Beast by shuffling my other back into the grave, but I'm not in any rush. I got lots of cards here, lots of disruption. I want to draw the Dark Spirit. Now, Dark Spirit can start poking them, and of course, if they want to do something like this, where they're trying to flip it face down, I can use Dark Spirit's effect to tag out and become my Mass Beast, which is what I'm going to do. So Dark Spirit comes out, Mass Beast comes in, the trap card's gone, I poke for 32, and of course, I'm going to try to end the game here by tributing off that one for this one, which is pretty nice. Unfortunately, I used my Solemn Judgment earlier. If I had Solemn Judgment, it would guarantee. They're going to play Lost Wind, of course, which will summon their monster. Lower mine. I'm going to play Blind Obliteration. They're going to play Switcheroo, which is a pretty fascinating card to see in this kind of build. If you control the same number of monsters as your opponents, switch control of those monsters. So, dang, it got me good. I got a Dark Spirit though, so it'll be pretty easy for me to summon out my Mass Beast, which will be stronger. They're going to use Laundry Dragon Maid. I will use my Dark Spirit to get my bigger Mass Beast out. They can't use the effect. Now they use Creature Swap, which is fine. I'm going to use Blind Obliteration here to pop the Laundry so that they don't give it, but it actually pops all the monsters because it rolls high enough. Good roll. Give me Dark Spirit of Malice back. I can keep recurring, and of course I can put on the offense with Dark Spirit of Malice, because its effect still works from the field. So I'm going to attack directly. They don't have anything, and that will sum it up. So yeah, pretty cool. You just kind of loot that resources, and your trap cards keep your opponent from, you know, being able to stop you. So that's it for my Mass Beast trap control deck profile. Again, just a cool way to utilize just an old school monster. That's one of my favorites, especially because I pulled one from the Legacy pack, so I only had to craft one more. So not a bad use of dust for one of my favorite monsters. I've always just thought this card looked so cool. Really love this kind of goofy, monstrous old Yu-Gi-Oh artwork a lot. But, you know, you can kind of use this kind of build with any 8-star Fiend monster. Archfiend Emperor is a monster you can normal summon, let get destroyed, and then loop with it and utilize all these trap cards. Zera the Mant, if you want to do this kind of thing with a card that is not a super rare. It's only got 400 less attack. Pretty cool. And, you know, a number of other things. I also can use this build without the Dark Spirits for good old the Phoenix of Nephthys, this card, which just has an effect that during the standby phase after this card's destroyed, you special summon it. So, you know, you don't even need these. You can have less monsters, more traps. So, pretty cool stuff. Very much enjoy it. There'll definitely be a little playing around with this because it's good enough to win some games. I'm not going to climb ladder with it, but, you know, it's a casual deck. I like it. I get to show off. It's always cool to show off a cool card like this. So let me know what you think. Love to know what your favorite old school ritual monster is, or just old school unusable monster is that you would love to do something with. Thanks for checking out the video. I'll catch you all in the next one.